The focus of both readings today, the first one from Exodus and this from John, is God. Now you would think, well, all the readings or all the scriptures, all our masses, all our prayers always focus on God. But today, looking at Jesus, we're focusing on the person he's revealing as God, his Father. And in the Old Testament, Moses has a very interesting relationship to God. He talks to him. God appeared in a burning bush, as you know. Later on, sent Moses to represent the people of Israel to the Pharaoh. Later on, Moses met him again when he gave him the Ten Commandments. And it wasn't like in a form like you or I are. It was in power. It was in a burning bush. It was in his voice. So somehow, God and Moses create this relationship, which is very familiar, and it's rather interesting looking at this conversation in Exodus today, because God is telling Moses while he's on Mount Sinai working on the Decalogue, the Ten Commandments, God says to Moses, look at those people down there, the people I just saved from Egypt. Look at them. They're making artificial gods out of molten calves, out of molten gold, and they're worshiping them. They're my people I saved, so I'm going to get rid of them all. I'm just going to extinguish them all from the face of the earth, which is how you and I would act probably if someone we did a great deal for betrayed us. But Moses challenges God. And this is very important for us to know that Moses not only creates a dialogue with God, but he challenges God. Please don't get rid of them. I mean, you're the one who saved them. You're the one who brought them from Egypt. You brought them into the promised land. You saved them. Why would you get rid of them now? How about if I go down and I present your words to them? And it seems that God relents of the great punishment that he had threatened to inflict on his people. Now, you and I have that same access to God. Jesus tells us today that he came from the Father and he represents the Father, and the words that he teaches are from the Father. And the Father knows me, and I know the Father. And my goal, this is Jesus speaking, is to get you to understand the Father. And for you to understand the Father, you have to listen to me and understand what I'm saying. And he goes back to Moses. You listened to Moses, but you really didn't get the whole hang of the message of Moses. I am the message of Moses, basically, Jesus is telling them. Now, this gospel is the Gospel of John. And John was a Jew, and he was kind of upset with the fact that the Jews themselves did not accept Jesus as the Messiah. So the whole Gospel of John is almost like antagonistic toward the Jews, blaming them, telling them things that they do, telling them that they're the cause of the problems, and so on. But that's John's perspective, but he also clarifies the role of Jesus. And the role of Jesus is to reveal God the Father to us. Now, we say the Lord's Prayer at every Mass and every time we say the Rosary and our own prayers. And that prayer is Jesus' words. We like to call it the Lord's Prayer, but we forget. I mean, maybe just the title makes us forget, but it's the prayer of Jesus to his Father. And he's telling us, I'm giving you this prayer because you have access to my Father. So both scriptures today, Exodus and John, are with us, encouraging us to speak to God. Now, we're more familiar with Jesus. We're more familiar with Mary, his mother. We're familiar with the idea of the Holy Spirit. But I think once in a while we have to pause and say, God. And the word God is simple, and there's no name connected to him. It's not God, Tom, Dick, or Harry. It's God. It's the ultimate name. And when he revealed himself to Moses, he said, I am who am. I am everything. So when we speak to God in prayer, I think we have the right to be familiar with him. The words that Jesus gave us in the Lord's Prayer are Abba, Father, which means Daddy. So we have the right to speak to our Daddy in heaven in any way you want. Sometimes we're angry at him. Sometimes we plead with him. Sometimes we're asking for guidance. And as Moses got into a dialogue with God, like a challenge, you can do it too. Because I think Jesus' main goal was to have us familiar with the Father, to get to know him, to get to know that God, the creator of everything that is, who controls everything that is always with us and available to us in prayer, in church, in prayer in our homes, on the streets. The other day in one of the Facebook posts, people were commenting on the Russian invasion of Ukraine, and somebody's comment was, and God allows this. Well, we got to address that. God knows everything going on, and in more than one place in the scriptures, we're told God reads our hearts. So we have the free will to act as God's children or as God's enemies. We have the free will to speak to God in prayer or to get angry at him in prayer. But whatever the context, he's available to us. And when people sin and people take advantage of others, no, it's not God allowing it. It's God who gave us free will. And the free will he wants us to act on is to know his Son, Jesus, who teaches us in many ways how to get to the Father, how to respond to the Father, through prayer, through sacrifice, through giving to the poor, through caring for one another. God is available to us in more ways than we can imagine. Speak to him. Talk to him. He's our Daddy in heaven.